Hey there, what is up, plant community? Green Thumb here. It is December 15th, and I wanted to do a remake of my video on how to take care of the European cypress. So, I've came a long way from my old cypress to learn about it and to be able to give you guys a more in-depth care video, especially gonna have to redo it because the last video was like, yeah. And, yeah, I was new to YouTube, still am pretty new, and I just didn't know how to do my camera, and I was more focused on the plant than trying to keep the camera focused. So yeah, I figured I'd just redo this whole how to care for European cypress. So this cypress is also known as, try to get in there for you guys. Guys still can't really see it. Elwoodii Paris, something like that, but we just all call it Elwoodii or European cypress. So, how to care for this plant. So I initially got it thinking it was for a zone 6, that maybe you could kind of get it for a zone 6, but no, they just won't survive in a zone 6A or 6B unless you protect them, which requires you to trim them and to provide heat. Sorry about that, I got a little distracted. And to make sure that ground doesn't freeze, and to keep them in an area where it's a microclimate and the ground doesn't freeze hard. But anyways, besides that, the care of this plant, if you want it as a potted plant, is simple. Keep it by a bright window and keep the soil moist. So when you get these guys, you could choose to replant them. I went ahead and replant mine. But if you do this, you don't want to use your normal potting soil. This soil here is called high porosity. And I love this soil because bonsai users here use them and use this soil, and it's really airy and doesn't hold on to a lot of moisture. It allows the roots to breathe. With your trees of any sort, you want to make sure you use soil that allows your roots to breathe and to fill in the oxygen that those roots need. So if you look in the wild, these roots are kind of like bonsai roots. They just don't go deeper down into the soil. They spread out. And that's how they manage to survive. And it's kind of the same, only within the pot, they have no choice but to go deeper down. And they can lose a lot of oxygen doing that and causing a lot of issues that maybe you do not want to deal with in the future with this plant. Are they frost hardy? I would say no. To an extent, but no. Because whenever I had mine outside, it lost its whole crown right in the middle. So maybe even if you're in a zone 7, you may not want to chance it. Because when I had my old one, which was much taller than this, it did lose its crown and it got brown crispy and it just never recovered. Like, it just absolutely never recovered from that whatsoever. And I was stuck with a pretty sad looking European cypress. But so long as you have airy soil, soil with good drainage, you want to also make sure you keep it moist. Like right now, this guy is very light. Got a little bit of moisture right there, but not too much. I might want to water him. Now, normally when I water this guy, I will wait for him to completely dry out because I want to encourage those roots to go down looking for the water. Or I'll wait for it kind of be right here, dryness right here, and I will completely go ahead and water it. Another thing is, too, they like humidity. They can deal with humidity at 60 to 70%, which is what I keep my room, which is pretty much my grow space to store all my plants. And they don't seem to mind that. And you can, when you're watering it, treat it like a bonsai and just kind of make sure the foliage gets damp and everything like that, because you gotta remember, where they grow, they will grow in areas where there is water. So you got to kind of simulate that. Fertilizing. Let's talk about fertilizing. Fertilizing, you could use slow release fertilizer, or you can use liquid fertilizer, or the little crystal like fertilizer that you put in your pail and mix up and all that. Now, I like to use liquid fertilizers for my trees because it gets them to grow faster. Slow release is okay if you don't want your trees to grow as fast. I found that with my trees is that they just don't grow as fast. But you can use whatever your preference is. Now let's talk about lighting. So inside, you want to make sure that your European cypress, or if you're growing them inside, you want to make sure that these guys are in direct sunlight, close to or by a window. I have this guy up on the windowsill because they're a zone 7. They could take a little bit of chill. I got mine outside right now. And it's not even really that chilly. Like, I'm wearing a holiday sweater, and it's like kind of not really that cold out here. It's actually quite comfortable. So yeah, a little bit of cold draft should not affect them unless the temps drop well below 0. So now let's talk about taking them outside. So say if you want to take these guys outside, which is always good for trees. Trees want to be outside. So what are you going to do whenever you take this guy out for the summer? And say maybe you want to reuse it, maybe as a Christmas tree or a holiday decorative type of tree or something like that for indoors for next year. So what are you going to want to do to really get the most out of to get the most out of this guy? Mouth's a little dry. Probably, you know what? I'm going to take a water break. I'll be back. There we go. There we go. All right, now I can talk better. Remember, guys, plants aren't the only ones that need water. Always try to be a hydro homie, just like your plants. But so yeah, so if you want to move these guys outside, what are you gonna do? Well, you're gonna kind of treat them like a Norfolk Island pine when you move them outside. So whenever you have a Norfolk Island pine, you gotta put it in an area where there is shade. And you gotta keep it in shade for a week, maybe 2 weeks. And you gotta move them in direct sunlight. It is the same ordeal with the European cypress, or even if you have a lemon cypress. Leave a comment down below if you want me to redo that video. But yeah, same ordeal. And if you have a gold crest cypress or lemon cypress, as we know them here, same ordeal. Shade, and then put them in direct sunlight. But be wary, though, that in direct sunlight, they are going to need way more water. Especially if you got them in a small pot like this, which I just planted mine in. Now, you will notice that when you get them, sometimes the roots will be draining out, well, coming out of the pot, and that's due to the water held up in the wrappers that you get them in, because they are always searching for water. And sorry guys, Mets bus, but so they will probably need a repot, because also too, the roots will be strangled right there. You could kind of tickle the roots and get them and put them in a pot. But anyways, so yeah, they could take direct sunlight. I've had my old one take direct sunlight. I've had my lemon cypress take direct sunlight. They're just going to need more water just to keep them happy. And if you got airy soil like I do, get a water tray and just kind of bottle water them. And that way they can always get the moisture that they need every day, because they're going to want that. Now, unless you like get half a days of sun or something like that, I would not recommend watering them every day. And actually, just make sure that the soil is just moist but not soggy, so that way you don't have issues like root rot, which, can be an issue for any plant. So Yeah, European cypress. Unless you're in a zone 7, I guess they said that you could get away with these guys. But I would honestly recommend a zone 8. But a zone 7, you could try them out for yourself. But yeah, they're easy to take care of. They're fun to grow. They can grow fast if you give them the proper care, proper fertilizers. They grow faster in sun. And they get real big in the sun too. I've noticed that with just the lemon cypress and the European cypress, if you're not on the repot, you might as well not even deal with them. I can repot this thing if it's not chilly or anything like that. Its root system will not go dormant, and I noticed that they just grow really fast. So, like my lemon cypress, I still do have it. In the summertime, I can repot that thing, and by July, it already needs a bigger pot. So, yeah. So keep that in mind. The root system will grow fast. You can also treat these guys like bonsais. So that's another thing you can do with them. But yeah, otherwise than that, real easy plant to care for, long as you know how to care for them. And if you like prehistoric plants like ferns, and you're a prehistoric plant enthusiast, maybe you live in a zone where you can grow cycads and all that in the ground, well, consider getting yourself some cypress trees because, well, they were around back then. Real cypress, not things like false cypress or cedars like I mistaken one of my cypresses for one time. But yeah, otherwise than that, guys, enjoy the video. And you know what? I'm going to leave that in there as a spoof. I really said enjoy the video. I meant have a good rest of the day. I hope you guys enjoy the video too, but that's not what I meant to say. Anyways, other than that, guys, have a good rest of the day. And as always, keep it real and definitely keep it tropical. I did it this time. I did mess it up, guys.